All right, example number 2. Mila and Alina live in a neighboring apartment building that are 30 meters apart. So there's two different apartment buildings. They're 30 meters apart. From where Mila is on her balcony, the angle of depression to the bottom of Alina's building is 40 degrees. The angle of elevation to the top of Alina's building is 20 degrees. How high off the ground is Mila? And part B, how tall is Alina's building? So again, before I can even comprehend what's going on here, I need to draw it because the pictures are worth 1,000 words, or in this case, I don't know, say 50 words. Okay, so let's draw two buildings that are 30 meters apart. That's what we got here. So here's one building. Here's another building. So this is Mila in this building. And this is Alina's building. And she's on a balcony. So balcony is extended off of here. It doesn't really matter. Okay. So the angle of depression so let's say this is where Mila is herself. The angle of depression, so again, when they're talking about angle of depression and angle of elevation, these are perspectives from Mila. And then from her perspective, you always have to write down something called the horizontal whenever you're talking about either of these things. So you can put Mila anywhere here, doesn't really matter. We're just gonna, we know she's somewhere there. And there is that horizontal, which is really, really important. And then the angle of depression, so from this horizontal, it's gonna be 40 degrees going down, and we're going to spot the bottom of Alina's building. So her eyesight is going to go down. She's going to look down at 40 degrees, and then when she tilts her head down 40 degrees, she sees the bottom of Alina's building. And the second point here, from that same part, because this is Mila on her balcony, she's going to be moving, she's going to look up at 20 degrees. So horizontal, and then move up 20 degrees to get the top of Alina's building. So she's gonna be, so when she tilts her head up 20 degrees, then she sees the building. And if you, so you gotta look at me in the camera. So this is the horizontal here. If you tilt up 20 degrees, then she sees the building. Going back to the horizontal, if she tilts down, then she sees the bottom of the building. So that's actually what's happening there. So this is 20 degrees. And now, they said, let's go back to this. They said the buildings are 30 meters apart. So we can, right here, draw a line here. And this is 30 meters apart. And again, because we can assume that buildings are straight up and down, we know that this angle right here will be 90 degrees. And again, because we're assuming the building is straight up and down, and this is a horizontal, we know this is also 90 degrees. And this is also 90 degrees. Okay, so you can see a whole bunch of triangles that are happening here. And when there's a question with multiple triangles, it's very important to start labeling things. So we're going to label, I guess with a different color here, the different parts of the possible triangles that you see here. So there's J, A, D, and this should be the bottom of the building, so you're going to have to be a little bit careful here. E, okay. So now, in order to find out what's going on, I have to draw this part because it's not very clear. Wow. All right, let's go down to here to the bottom of the building. Okay, so that's gonna be 40 degrees. Now, this right here, do you see how this is the height, this part right here, of how high Mila is going to be? So that's what they're asking for. How high off the ground is Mila? They're asking for this part of the triangle. I guess I should label the other part of the triangle here, which is N. So you can work with this triangle, because we know this is 30 meters, and we know that this is also going to be 90 degrees here. So if this is 40, what's this angle going to be? So if this is 90 degrees and this is 40, we can say that it's going to be 90 minus 40 will be what's left over here, which is going to be 50 degrees. So we can work with triangle ANE and get the answer there. Or you can actually work with another triangle to get the same answer. If you wanted to, you know that this height right here from A to N is going to be the same as this height from D to E. Okay, this is kind of important for your portfolio because you might have to do multiple methods again, right? So you have to recognize that this triangle is the same thing as this triangle. And right here, if this is horizontal, because that's the horizontal, it's very important to realize this is horizontal, and the ground is also horizontal. These are parallel. So you have to use your Z pattern that we used. And if we use the Z pattern, we know that this is 40 degrees. And as a result, this is going to be 90 degrees because we're assuming that the building is standing up nice and tall and straight. So this will be 50 degrees right here. So we have this triangle, which is 40, 50, and we're looking for that height, or this triangle, which is 40, 50, and this height. So what's important to realize is that you have multiple options here. You can work either with triangle ANE or triangle DAE. And both of them will give you the same answer in terms of giving you the height out of here, which matches the height of Mila over there. So to answer part A, you can work with either one of those. Okay, so I'm going to work with ANE. And we are going to choose a focus angle. We can choose either 50 or 40. You cannot choose a 90-degree angle as your focus angle. So let's choose one. Let's use purple. I'm going to use that as my focus angle. And we can start labeling things. This is going to, across my focus angle is going to be my opposite. And this will be the hypotenuse because that's across from the 90-degree symbol. And this is my adjacent. And from here we have to highlight what they want. They want the opposite, and what they gave us is the adjacent, so we are working with tangent. Oh, I kind of jumped the gun here. Which one has both? Opposite and adjacent, and that is tangent. Okay, so we have tangent, our focus angle, which is this, angle E is equal to opposite over adjacent. And angle E in this case is going to be 40 degrees, and opposite is H, adjacent is 30, and in order to isolate for the, well, we have to get rid of the fraction, so the opposite dividing by 30 is multiplying by 30, so it'll be 30 times tan 40 equals to H, and to help your annotations, I'm going to do tan 40 only first. Tan 40 is 0.839 ... and again, you have to put the ... there because you want to carry every decimal. You want to be as accurate as possible. And again, what does that 0.839 mean? Well, it means that the opposite is 83% of the adjacent. And so if the opposite is 30, we're going to find, if the adjacent is 30, right, and if the opposite is 83% of the adjacent, we're going to find 83% of that. So it should be smaller. So we're going to multiply by 30, and our adjacent is going to be 25.17 ... And we are going to store this in our calculator. So store A. So I have to keep every single decimal place in order to get the most accurate answer for maybe this part, for part B. So I know that H is 25.17, and I guess we can answer that part of the question. How high off the ground is Mila? Well, Mila is 25, and I'm going to round it to no decimal places because, again, in their question, they have measured the numbers that we are working with. There's no accuracy to the number of decimal places. There's no decimal places, so we can't report any more decimal places. So Mila is 25 meters high. So I'll round it there. And so let's do part B. For part B, it says, how tall is the Linus building? Well, we already know the height of this part because that's the same thing as Mila's height over here. So we just have to find out this height over here. So we know DE is equal to AN, which is equal to 25.17 meters for extreme accuracy sakes. So we just have to find out, so if we know that part, we just need to find out what JD is. So JD equals what? And that's what we're finding over here. All right, to find out part of JD, what we can do is we can actually take a look at this triangle right here. So JD is actually the one that we're interested in. So that's this part. And realize that this is part of this part segment is actually only part of this triangle right here, which is JDA. And what do we know about this triangle? We know that this is 20 and this is 90. And since they have to add up to 180, we know that this is going to be 70. But having all the angles itself is not actually useful because we need to know a side. Otherwise, we don't know what the relative size of each of these things are. So we have to search for something. And what I'm looking down here is that this is 30. The ground between the two buildings is 30. And it's because we've assumed that these buildings are going straight up, the distance between the ground, between the apartments on the ground is 30. It should be the same as the horizontal distance over here as well. So this is also 30 right here. Now it's kind of getting confusing here, so I'm going to redraw it so it's a little bit more clear. We want to find out what JD is. So J is the top part, that's D, and this is angle A. This is 20 degrees, this is 70, this is 90, and we know that this is going to be 30 meters. And then from here, we need to figure out what we want to find. And we want to find out the height of the building. That's what this question is. How tall is Alina's building? So we want to know this part. So we're looking for little a across from big A, small a. Now that we have that, well, we have a triangle. We can draw it out. We have a lot of information, enough information to solve anything about the triangle. So first thing we do is we look for a focus angle. So I'm going to choose this one as my focus angle. And if this is my focus angle, this is my opposite. This is my hypotenuse because it's across from the 90-degree symbol, and this is the last one is my adjacent. And again, we need to highlight what they want. They want the opposite. And what do they give us? They give us the adjacent. So again, the only trig ratio that has both opposite and adjacent is tan. So tangent of angle A is my focus angle, is opposite over adjacent. And we know that A is 20 degrees. The opposite is going to be unknown, which is going to be A. Adjacent is 30. And again, we multiply both sides by 30. So 30 times tan 20 equals A. And for annotations and understandings that you guys have to demonstrate, tan of 20 is 36% approximately, 0.363 ... which means that the opposite is going to be 36% of the adjacent, which is 30. So if it's going to be 36% of 30, we're going to multiply by 30, and we're going to get a really small number, which is going to be 10.9 ... is A. And so the total height of the building is equal to JD plus H. So JD, so this is JD or little a. A is 10.9 ... keep every single decimal place, plus H, which is 25.17 ... So again, I have not erased anything on my calculator. I have kept, you guys can't see it, I just kept the answer there. So I'm going to do this plus the 25.17, but I know I've stored 25.17 under A. So I have just pressed recall A. So as you can see, that says answer plus A, which is 25.17. All those decimal places, I didn't have to write it all out. Press the equal sign, and I get 36.09 blah 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 blah. And it's important that you keep every single decimal place because I don't know what you guys are going to be doing in the future, but you have to keep developing that skill, this good habit of not deleting decimals. So 092 ... so I can find the most exact answer. And then what do we round it to? We round it to no decimal places because they reported no decimal places. So that's going to be 36. And to finish off the word problem, we just give it therefore statement. So therefore, the height of Alina's building is 36 meters. Okay, so read the question. Change it to a diagram, okay? Practice making the diagrams. Then from the diagrams, you might have to do some work with like parallel line theorems in order to find these angles, like this Z pattern here. So I knew this is 40. We did a Z pattern to find out that this was also 40 over here. Probably using this. Okay. Once you have your triangles, label your opposite, adjacent, your hypotenuse. Use your trig ratios to figure out which one you need to use. Plug it in, solve, making sure to understand the annotation here. And also keeping every single decimal place using the memory that I've taught from before, how to use the memory button on your calculator and storage. And then to calculate the full height of Alina's building, remember it's a part B question. You might have to use part A's answer, which is this part right here. We knew this is 25. And then for part B, we'd have to identify a new triangle to work with, highlight that, understand that we need to find out the little height of this mini triangle, redraw it if you need to. If you need to redraw this one separately, you could. So redraw triangle A and E. But redraw the triangle so it's a little bit more clear. Identify, again, your opposites, adjacents, and the hypotenuse. And then figure out which one you need to do, plug it in, and solve. Each time you do a calculation, make sure you go back to make sure you understand what they're asking for. A lot of people just stop right here. Ooh, I solved for A, right? But what is the question really asking? It's not asking for little a, it's asking for the whole building. So remember to do the extra piece of work there. They want the total height. Show your work. Make sure you use every single decimal place to get the most accurate answer. Okay, please practice using your calculator. A lot of people lose their communication marks because they're not reporting the most accurate answer they could. Okay, and that's it. So if you have any questions, please email me or see me on Google Chat, and I can help you with the drawing of diagrams or anything else you're having problems with. Good luck.